Hey, you guys! Welcome back to another episode of the G Spot, and I'm super, super excited because it is a very, very special episode today. Okay, so this is the second episode that I have a co-hosting with me today, and I have the amazing, the phenomenal, the light of just energy, just bright light. Like, do you see the smile? Like, listen, I have the incredible G Babe Giovanna here with us to be an incredible co-host for the episode, and I'm super, super excited. So, without further ado, let's say hey.
What's up? For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Giovanna. I'm a multi-dimensional alchemist, and I call myself that because I can create anything out of anything. So, yeah,
Hello. She
I'm
said
a
she can
proud
create
G babe.
anything out of anything.
Thin
That's
air.
some real stuff right there. And I'm super excited today because I knew that like I was coming out of my comfort zone, and I'm really taking the G Spot seriously, and I knew that I wanted to have people on, as co-hosts where we could really talk about some real topics, some real stuff that I think is just important for us to have like this safe space where we could speak about things that matter. You know what I'm saying? And things that we might not be able to talk to with our family or our friends or our significant others or some of the girlfriends that we even have in our life. So I just really felt like I wanted to create that space. And then when I was thinking about people that I could have on, you literally like were one of the first people to come to my mind, like so seriously, because I just feel like I could feel like your energy and your passion through Instagram, like, because that's where we met. You know what I'm saying? And you were like one of my first customers to support my business.
Yo,
And
and I didn't know that either.
bro, like
I didn't know that
literally,
until later.
literally, and so
This is the first set I bought too.
exactly, and it just looks so good. Like you, girl, like if you even know the impact that you had in my life, like I mean that for real. You know what I mean? And so it's like there have literally been people in my life that don't show up for me, did not support me, didn't care about what I had going on. And so when I met people like you who just pour so much energy into me and love and light, I just felt like an instant connection. You know what I'm saying? And then when I would like look at your platform more, your content, I'm just like, yo, she's literally bomb. Like looking at your stories and just like you and having like your story time and stuff like that, I'm like, she has such like incredible like perspectives and the way that she sees the world, and I feel like we gotta talk about that. Like I just feel like it's just ah.
It's funny because, like, in the last couple years, I want to say I've had my throat chakra like blocked. So I
Wow.
haven't been like really like sharing my thoughts like I used to like for example like 10 years ago maybe like
Yeah.
so now that I feel it more balanced, I'm like I want to talk. Let's talk
Yeah.
about this shit. I don't care if you
Yeah.
disagree. Like let's talk about it, you know? Like I
Yeah.
want to understand why you disagree. I want to like us to just like talk about this shit cuz we don't get anywhere in life like as as a collective
Mhm.
without acknowledging what we need to acknowledge. You
Yeah.
know, if we don't, but at the same time, there's certain topics that I feel like we can leave alone for us to finally move on from it.
Hmm. That's deep. No, for real. So you were saying like you felt like your throat chakra was blocked for the last 3 years. Like, do you know maybe like what has contributed to that, or like what kind of led to that?
I would say, being hurt,
Okay.
life, depression and
Yeah.
shit. You know,
Yeah.
because we all get it. I know
Yeah.
I can come off very like positive and happy all the time and shit. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, like I work hard through my low ends, you know, like
Yeah.
getting back up. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to talk about self-love, because without
Yeah.
self-love, like you literally can't move in any direction. You kind of
At
like just stay
all.
stuck
At
or you
all.
just stay in a little loop. So it's
Facts.
like you have to have that self love to recognize like what you need to acknowledge and shit like
Yeah.
that. So I feel like getting more into that side of me, tapping into like my higher self, basically.
Yeah.
Shout out to shrooms, because Shrooming introduced me to shadow work. I had no
Ooh.
idea what the fuck shadow work was until like I started actually shrooming.
Mm.
So ever since that, I feel like I've been going to therapy like with myself, but with higher
Okay.
self. So it's like she is me and I am her, but we're
Yeah.
still like getting to know each other when I'm getting
Yeah.
to know her.
Yeah. So, like, if we're gonna keep it 100, like, what is shadow work? Because I really don't even kind of know. Like,
So to me, it's like you recognize the trauma in you and you dig deep enough to see where the root is coming from. You know, like I call them trauma knots because like when there's a knot or something, you literally have to like unknot it.
unravel.
And just because you
Yeah.
get like one knot off doesn't mean like the whole thing is like
Yeah.
magically like all good. Like no, it's a process, it's a journey. And
Yeah.
like a lot of shit that we've gone through since kids like affect us so much now as adults. You
Yes.
know, like as people that weren't like didn't have parents that let them express themselves and stuff like that. I would say like they would have a lot of trouble with their throat chakra because they weren't allowed to express themselves the way they wanted to because they would
Yeah.
get like in trouble or some
Yeah.
shit, and you
Yeah.
know they just didn't have that leisure.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's kind of like when parents used to say kids are to be seen and not heard. Like, those type of things.
And because
Yeah.
like something I even teach my little cousins, because like you
Mm.
know it's big in I'm Colombian, so it's very culture to like you know kiss on the cheek and hug
Okay.
whatever. So sometimes my baby cousins they're like one's 3 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know my cousin will tell them like no like go like hug her, give her a kiss and stuff like that, and like my baby cousin sometimes doesn't want to, and I tell him like it's okay. Like
Yeah.
I respect your boundaries. Like it's okay, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's important for them to hear that because
Absolutely.
we more than likely did not hear that when we were younger.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you're being standoffish. You're having an attitude. Go give so and so a hug. Go give so and so a kiss. But it's like, I feel like as kids, there are certain things. Like, I feel like kids pick up energy hella. Like, they're very sensitive to energy. So if your kid doesn't want to go give a hug or something like can be intimate as a kiss, you know what I'm saying? Because those certain things have energy transfer. You know what I'm saying?
We should respect
They are
that.
doing that for a reason. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I feel like parents are so like don't want to be embarrassed. Like, oh, like you don't want to be embarrassed. Like your kid is like not listening to you, or your kid is like
Being
standoffish.
rude.
Yeah, or being rude. But in reality, your kid might be trying to tell you something.
Also, like so, this whole like this whole realizing the psychology of all this is shadow work. So
Okay.
forget that. Yeah. So
Okay.
all this is literally shadow work, like why we are the way we are, why we get triggered by certain things, and just like working on ourselves like
Yeah.
that. Because like self
Yeah.
love is more than just no love and light. It's a lot more
Yeah.
than like all the pretty stuff that we see. It's really ugly, and we got to get through that shit, and we got to embrace that shit. The shadow
Yeah.
self, we have to embrace it because it's still us.
Okay. I like that. No, but I really like I appreciate that breakdown, seriously, because like I feel like you said, on social media especially, like the self-love journey has like connotation to it that is all like roses and journal entries and just like humsa and like meditation, but we don't really address like the side of it that's traumatic, the side of it that you have to face your trauma, you have to face those things that you might not like about yourself so that you can, you know, heal and continue on the journey as a more like a better version of yourself, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you breaking it down like that, because sometimes too, like when you hear certain things, like when I would hear like shadow work and stuff like that, and I'd be like, all I thought about was like a darkness or like like you know, like
Yeah,
you
but it's
know,
also the same thing with the black cat.
yeah, exactly. But that's all the stuff that like society teaches us to believe in, when in reality they don't give us the whole picture for us to make our own decisions.
And that's definitely the agenda for them. They don't want us to know the whole truth.
No, that's big facts, though. That's big facts. So I appreciate you for breaking that down and, like, you know, creating this space where I didn't feel, you know, like dumb to ask that
Oh
question. You know
no,
what I'm saying?
no. We're all here to learn. We're
Absolutely,
all here to learn.
absolutely.
And I love being able to talk about this shit. As long as someone's open to hearing, because I
For
understand that
sure.
like some of the terminology can be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Are you like, what are you doing? I heard you like reading that book, Outwitting with the Devil. What's that about? What's
And
that?
it's so ridiculous because it's like, be open minded. Like, bro, reading Outwitting the Devil, like, literally changed every perspective for me.
What?
Mind
I
blown, like everything. Because, like, when I was younger, I was raised Catholic, right?
mm,
So, like, reading a book, like I went to Catholic school, you know what I'm saying? I was raised Catholic, like, it was very religious in that way. So, reading that book, I was just like, so y'all was lying. Like, what? What?
uh, I grew up Catholic. And then when my parents divorced, they turned to Christianity. So like then after that, like I dabbled in Christianity.
Yeah.
And probably in the last like 5 years is when I've been like uh in a way like leaving Christianity because I don't subscribe to their beliefs
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
to their extent to like be categorized as a Christian. Like I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
you
No, but
know?
it's the fact that, like, I just feel like everyone should be able to be given information and decide what they want to do with it, and without being like judged or backed into a corner or, like, secluded or included based on how they feel, because we all feel differently about things based on our, like, paradigms, based on our experiences, based on things that we went through. All of our perspectives are going to be different. So I just feel like you can't, like, if a person doesn't agree with this or that, or, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you can't, like,
Like it's
outcast them.
okay.
Yeah,
It's okay
like,
because at the end of the day, we're all here, like literally just in a way making up theories.
yes,
What the fuck is
that's what
going
I'm
on?
saying. Like, who
So
is
it's like
saying
it's
that this is
okay.
what this is? Like,
I'm just adding the math in my own head, okay? Because
exactly.
to me, God isn't religion. God is source. Not
Yes.
not she or he, both. It's
Mm-hmm.
that all is energy. Like literally, like that's all we move. And love is such a source. It's
Yes.
not just romantic shit. It's literally
No.
a fucking source you can tap into and
Yes.
just like grow with it, live with
Yes.
it. Like, and it's a whole side that you choose every day. Like you have to choose every day to live in love, to move in love, to live
Yes.
in love. Like, or
Yes.
you can do the anger and all the other shit. That's another source too. It's another
Yeah.
option. That's the
Yeah.
whole. That's the art of having what is it, will, self, freedom of will. Ah,
Like,
what is
I think
it?
willpower or something like
Well,
that.
yeah.
Something like that.
Being able to choose.
Yes. No. Seriously. And, like, you know, I feel like love will heal all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like love will heal all, and that's why, like, a huge part of, like, my brand and my mission and just, like, everything that I'm, like, doing right now is based on self love. Like, I'm
Mm,
just trying to figure out a way that I can, like, translate, like, the journey, or, like, translate, like, how I can impact people in that way, but the basis and the foundation of it is self-love, you know what I mean? So that's, like, through my
passion.
craft,
Yes.
passion, you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And, like,
passion.
ultimately creating these micro spaces, like here with the podcast, where we can talk about things like this, where we could talk about self-love, where we could talk about our self-love journeys, where we can, like, be open and just like open, like, you know what I mean? Because there's so many, like, when I was younger, I had, like, extremely low self-esteem. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like, I hated everything about myself. Like, I avoided mirrors. Like, I hated my body, hated my personality. Like, I would say to my mom, like, oh, I wish that there was a surgery where I could, like, they could, like, cut my leg and, like, reattach it to, like, the kneecap so I could be shorter, so I could be this, so I could be that. And she would think that I was playing, but I was so serious, you know? And I didn't understand, like, self-love at that time. Like, I didn't understand, certain things that I should be doing, affirmations, this and that, like, speaking nice to myself. Like, I was my own worst enemy. Like, I would
mm,
speak to myself so mean, so nasty, so cruel, you know? And when I got older, And, um, you know, recently too with Golden, I would say to myself, you know, there are so many people out there that I feel like are still experiencing the things that I've experienced. They're still being so nasty with themselves. They're still being, you know, they're still like not understanding the power of being their own best friend, not understanding the power of telling themselves that they love themselves, not understanding the power of just being able to sit there with themselves and look in the mirror, and instead of tearing themselves apart, finding something sweet and something nice to say about themselves. There's so much power in that. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like I gotta do something because like the power that I started to feel from elevating my self-love and how confident I started showing up in my life and how I started to believe in myself more. I'm like, if more of us, especially women, right, if we could do these things and we could elevate our self-love, our lives will totally change. We could actually live the lives of our dreams. We could actually go after our dreams and do the things that we want to do. We can stop putting ourselves in these compromising situations, in these compromising relationships, putting ourselves in these spaces where we're not being celebrated, we're being tolerated. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yo, I gotta do something because I have to, you know, just be able to bridge a gap or just create a space, you know? So today I know one of the biggest topics that I want to talk about is just the power of self-love in its own, like its own right. So for you, one, I want to ask you like, what do you, like, how do you define self-love? Right? Like, what does that look like to you? That's kind of, I feel like, where I want to start in that sense.
Being your own best friend, like
Yeah.
really holding yourself down as you hold yourself up. I've always been a big advocate for that. Since high school, I used to even always say that I don't have a best friend because I'm my best friend. You know,
Wow.
that was a thing for me, and I know I would hurt some of my closest friends' feelings
Yeah.
for saying that.
Yeah.
But then after high school, I was just like, it's okay. Like I can have different
Yeah.
whatever. It's all
Yeah.
titles, like whatever. But like, at the end of the day, like I still come like I'm 30 now, right? So this
Mhm.
is that
You
was
look
when I was
so
like
good. Oh
20.
my
Thank
gosh,
you,
that's still
thank
like
you,
so
thank
like
you.
shocking to me. Like you look so good. Can you imagine what you're gonna look at like 40 and 50? Girl, like what?
Woo!
Just had to give a minute. Just had to give a
Oh.
minute.
But yeah, so it looks really like that. Like you really moving with love. Like you have to embrace yourself, and that's going through the dark shit and just you got to take time to realize what you need to fix,
Yeah.
adjust in yourself, what you want to
Yeah.
change with you, and just do it with love. Like, forgive yourself because everything starts with yourself. As you forgive yourself and you heal yourself and you love yourself and you move with love and you project self love, not only are you going to attract others that have self love, but you're also going to attract, like, as a woman, who, as a straight woman, like, I want to attract a man
Mm-hmm.
that even because their emotional intelligence isn't as high as us usually, you know? And that's
Mm-hmm.
because of like the past generational traumas have been passed down like through them too. Like they haven't been
Yeah.
taught to like acknowledge like their emotions in the way that we have to, you know?
Yeah.
So I would love to attract a man that like is open to just, you know, receiving that and like
Yeah.
growing with that. And that's what self love is though. Like that's what self care is. It's just like
Yeah.
not just projecting love, but like circulating that energy in itself. Study that energy, be that
Yeah.
energy, like
Yeah.
and when
Yeah.
you're
No,
not, like it's okay. Don't beat up on yourself.
yeah. Because that's not self love.
So yeah, I mean it's a choice because it's
Yeah.
a lifestyle. You really have to practice it. It's not just like a diploma, like here it is, like that's it. I
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Like no, it's an everyday choice.
Yeah. So would you say a reason why you think that we are all here, like in our individual journeys, is like for the journey of self love? Like, do you feel like that's kind of like not the finish line, but like something that is like a part of our life's work?
I feel like one of our biggest purpose is to remember. Like remember that we are love and that we are
Mm,
just here to live in love.
yeah.
Whether whatever that looks like to you, whatever that
Yeah.
feels like to you, as long as you're not hurting people like that. You know, like not being malicious and stuff doesn't come with love. Like
Yeah.
it's moving with love is exactly what Yeshua or Jesus, however you want to refer to him as, was like teaching us when he was here. Like
Yeah.
tapping into that divinity of love. Like love is so powerful. Like it's like
You just feel it.
yeah, because
I
it's
feel
God.
you.
Like that's what God is. Like I
Yeah.
wish some religious people would really understand that like love is just God. Like God
Yeah.
is love, love is God, and this is what we
Yeah.
need to actually pay attention to and live
Yeah.
in. Not all the extra shit like you're gonna go to hell if X, Y, and Z. Like no, no. Half the
Mm-hmm.
shit that they tell us God like gives a fuck about, I bet you anything God does not. It's source.
Exactly. No, for real. Absolutely. So, where do you feel like your journey for self love or your awareness of your self love journey started?
So when we moved to Florida from Colombia, I was about like six, yeah, I was about like five, six.
Okay.
Um, my parents ended up like working two, three jobs, like majority of my life. So majority of my childhood I remember really is being alone. Like with my brother and shit, but I was
Yeah.
still like alone.
Yeah.
Um, Doing that I feel like made me very close with myself.
Okay.
Cause we didn't have like money like that either. So I had one Barbie. They didn't have like a lot of clothes like that. So what did I do? I made
Yeah.
clothes out of socks, out of paper towels, out of anything I could really like find. And I was,
Forceful.
like,
Hello.
so I would always use my hands. I would always create.
Yeah.
Art was definitely a big, like, has always been a big thing for me, like all my life through toddler, kid, teenager, and even
Yeah.
as an adult, obviously, art has been like all the mediums from photography and everything, like all that has just kept me in a state of with myself. Like I'm fucking like I fuck with myself. I'm my
Fuck
best
with
friend.
myself. I love it.
Like
I
I'm my
love
best
it.
friend.
Yes.
So that's really what it is. Like I found something that like I just really fuck with myself and I bond with myself doing that.
Yeah. No, I love
Yeah.
that so much. So you're saying that like your art helped you to be like an outlet for you, but also to
Yeah.
bond and really like explore yourself and the things that you love and the things that you like, so that you were able to kind of like um, elevate your relationship with yourself by dating yourself with art through
Yes.
art type thing. Okay, that's super dope. I love that.
I
I
love that
love
you were
that.
able to translate everything I just said too.
No,
It's
for
like so
sure.
great.
No, for
Thank
sure.
you.
But I love that because you used your passion to fuel you.
To heal
I
me,
love.
to fuel me, like I use it constantly.
Yeah, and I feel like so okay, so in your younger days, what I'm getting is like you found a love of art through your fact of that you had to kind of be resourceful
Yeah.
in a sense. Okay, so like you would do things with like Barbies and like making clothes for your Barbies and different things like that. And then what did that spiral into for you next? Like let's say like as you were like a teenager.
Photography. Like taking mad pictures of myself. I'm like the selfie queen since back
You
in middle
really
school.
are though. All the angles, like I'm like, I need
I
sis to
know
teach
my
me.
shit.
What? What? Because they be coming out. Wow, I'm like,
Thank you.
damn.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've always been my favorite photographer, my favorite model, my favorite creative director first and foremost.
Mm,
Obviously I love working with people, especially different creatives that just like align with just the way I create.
yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely the biggest, the dominant outlet my teenage years. Um, and that was definitely that and event producing because I was in student government. So that's what really got me into like organizing events and shit like that. And I
I
definitely
love
took that with me after high school.
that. Okay, so is that like event organizing and things like that is something that you wish to do continuing on in the future or
Oh yeah,
yeah?
I love producing an event. I love creating a space for creatives to circulate that energy. I'm very, very big on like creatives getting together and circulating that creative energy. Like we have to
Yeah.
do that. It's
Yeah.
rejuvenating, it's inspiring, it's encouraging.
Hmm.
Um, and as an artist, not only do I do it for myself, but like I do it for all of us because
Yeah.
someone has to, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that obviously I'm not the only one out here doing that.
For
But
sure.
I take my breaks. It's not my only medium that I like to do. So
That's
that's why
good.
you see me doing it sometimes and then
Yeah.
not. And yeah.
Yeah. No, that's super dope. That's super dope. So when it comes to passion, if what advice would you have for maybe someone if they have no clue as to what they're passionate about, or they have no clue on what like positive outlets that they can do to help them find themselves?
I would say make a list of things you used to do when you were a kid.
Okay.
Just whether it was dancing in your room,
Mm.
singing in the shower, or
Yeah.
singing not in the shower. Like,
Yeah.
what did you used to do? Did you use to skateboard? Like, there's, we all have something that touches our childhood that makes us happy, you
Yeah.
know? And that's something that passion really is playing with the child in you. Because,
Mm.
like, we're all playing adults. We're not
Yeah.
really adults, in my
That's
opinion.
real.
Like we're all playing adults. It's not an adult
Real.
playing a child. It's we're
Yeah.
children playing adults, and we just have a lot more wisdom now with obviously the experience that we've collected. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like we still have to like tap into like the love and
Yeah.
the just creating something because it makes us feel. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but creating makes me feel fulfilled. Like
Yeah.
living in that makes me feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So as a Libra, I've learned not to project that. Like if I can do it or if this makes me feel good, that means it's gonna make you feel good too. I
Yeah.
try not to do that,
Yeah.
but I like we all have something that we can tap into that makes us
Yeah.
feel good, and that's just my point.
Yeah. And like I think that something that's so important is kind of like taking the time to figure out what makes you feel good, because I feel like a lot of us, like I can speak for myself, like even sometimes now I feel very out of touch with myself. Like the other day I was getting my nails done and I went to this new nail salon and I was sitting there and the process to get my nails done was taking forever, not gonna lie. But it was kind of like therapeutic, because the salon was kind of like, it was before they were getting busy, so the vibes in there, the music in there, everything was just really just right. So I was sitting there and I was looking around and I was thinking to myself, like, what do you like? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what do you like really like? Like, as opposed to like, not business. Like, we're not talking about business. We're not talking about entrepreneurship because I can spiral into that, right? But like, just you, Natalia, like, just you. What is it that you like to do? Like, like to do like a hobby, or like, what are the things you like to eat, or like, what's your favorite color? Like, I really had to sit there and I was like reflecting because I was like, I don't think I know. like, and I was like, in the moment, I was kind of embarrassed by it because I was like, you're like 25 years old. Like, how do you not know, like, what you like to do, or like, what's your favorite hobby? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you not know these things? But what I realized is that when you've been in, like, survival mode for so long, you kind of, it's so easy to get detached from like the true authentic version of yourself, because you're either like always worried about money, or always worried about surviving, going to work, making it happen, like, making ends meet, or you're always putting yourself on the back burner to prioritize the people that you care about in your life, or, you're always showing up for other people, and I really was saying to myself, like, damn, like, how do you, like, what are the things that you like, da 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 da. And I thought to myself, I can't be the only one that
No,
like,
you're absolutely not. That's so common. It's so
yeah,
common because on top of that, like we have different versions of ourselves. rebirthing, like,
Yeah.
and it's not like it needs to ask our permission like our iPhones to like update, like it just does
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So we have to actually take the time out to be like, who are you again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is red my still favorite? Is it still my favorite color, or has it changed? Because it's okay that it changes.
Yeah.
Like we evolve and we change, and we have to get to know ourselves again and again and again and again. But we have to remember to do that, because being on autopilot, survival mode, like
Yeah.
we forget. We forget.
Yeah.
I schedule time for me to be like, okay, let me do this because I have to remember to do this. So I just added into my weekly routine to just
I
have
love
a
it.
day to myself that I can
Yeah.
just be with myself
Yeah.
and kick it with myself. Like, what's up? What's
Yeah.
new?
What's up, self? You did
What
a good job
changed?
this week.
Right?
Oh, I love that though. No, I love that. Like scheduling and time for yourself, like putting it on your calendar. Like this is important too. To getting in touch with me is just as important as me clocking into work, like type thing. Like I love that. That's important. So I definitely feel like that's a tip, like a pro tip. Schedule in time for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love that. And so when you schedule in time for yourself, what do you feel like are some things that you do? Like, you know what I mean? Like what is
I
a self-care day with you that's like?
I bond with the sun. I love being
Ooh.
like in the sun, whether it's at the beach or the pool. I just oh God, just
Yeah,
feeling the recharge of the sun, and just
yeah,
like it's meditating under it, smoking under it. I'm just
yeah.
like in heaven. Like woo,
Uh,
that's
I love
everything for
it.
me. Especially being at the beach and like microdosing at the beach. Like so beautiful. I feel so connected to like universe and God when I'm just like in that state, because
Yeah,
I just feel full of love. So I'm
yeah.
like here, like this is great.
This is amazing. I am in my
Yes,
own
this
zone.
is exactly what I needed.
Oh my
So
gosh, I love
yeah,
that.
that's me. That's my self care days. Honestly, it's just making myself that happy.
Mm,
It's just making myself that happy. But there's like,
no,
putting on some makeup because it changes. My self cares are not always the same.
okay.
So if I can catch the sun, great. If I
Mhm.
can't, I play around with whether it's I've been practicing my makeup a little bit more, because
Okay.
even though I'm a painter and stuff, like
Yeah.
me and makeup I've only perfected the eyeliner.
But you
I've
perfected it though,
only
and it looks
perfected the
great.
eyeliner. That's the only thing I've known for years to do. Everything else has been like a process.
Okay.
It's been a journey to learn. So I want to thank all my makeup artists, because they've always, every time they do my makeup, I'm able
Yeah,
to learn a little bit better how to do my makeup. So I
that's good.
practice when I can.
That's good. At least they're like open to like teach you or walk you through certain things while they're doing your makeup. Because I know some people like they just be like, sit down, just shut up, like like we gonna get this done, like we're gonna get
No,
this
that's
done.
when you're like, okay, no,
So that's
no,
good. At least they were open for it.
yeah.
I
So
love
it
that.
changes. Like I said, I just bask in love. I bask
Mm,
in. It also depends on my mood. If I'm healing myself, then it's I take it day by day. There you go.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
depends.
That's what you gotta do,
It's
day by day,
medicine.
step by
Yeah.
step. Yeah,
Love is medicine, and it's in so many forms.
yeah. I love that, and I think one of the things that I think from our conversation today that's gonna really stick with me is when you said that we are kids playing adults.
Mm.
That is so strong because it's just like there was never a point where it's like the switch happened and like I was aware that it happened. Like, oh, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was never like a point in time that was what happened. So I just feel like, damn, like that was just so deep. I'm really still on that. Like, like that we
Yeah.
are kids that are playing adults. Like,
But what's funny is that, like, working in corporate world, I feel will put you in a trance, that an adult trance. You gotta do adult shit, live an adult life, adult struggles, adult emotions, and just living
yeah,
that. But because of the, well, I mean, I may have happened regardless, but like because of the lockdown, it snapped me out of it.
Yeah.
And I was able to reinstall my time, my creative time. And so that creative dominance in me actually was more than the corporate side of me. Because
Mm.
finding that balance was something that I was okay. This is my third year being in the casino world, right? So the first
Yeah.
year, it was really like this is my corporate side, like it just went up. My creative side just started like going down,
Mm.
and then the second year is when the pandemic hit. So when we hit
Okay.
the lockdown, like during the lockdown, I was still getting paid, and I was home. So
Yeah.
what I do, I was able to put just finding my time. I was
Yeah.
Oh God, I kind of miss that though. I'm not gonna lie. So, but I'm so grateful for that time. I'm so grateful for that time because it allowed me to be an artist again as an adult. Like
Yes.
refocus myself. I really just needed to refocus on myself and my priorities and like what I want to do. Just and heal a lot. I needed to
Yeah.
heal from like just there was so many like death. Well, I don't like calling it death, but like so many transcendence that happened between certain energies that I had to like grieve for, whether it was like the living or the dead, and it was just a lot. And then
Yeah.
I had to get it out. So that
Yeah.
now I'm a lot more on the other side where I can say I'm more healed than anything. And
Wow.
I can just see that like I was in such a trance of being an adult and it was so depressing. Like it was
Yeah.
so depressing. I
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm able to step into that environment and I don't feel that trance weighing on me. I can just walk
Yeah.
through it because I'm like, I feel like I'm in my vortex and like
Yeah.
nothing's like I can be in there, but like I'm not like in there where I am part of the trance.
Mm. That is deep shit. Seriously, because I can really like I can envision what you're saying. Like I think about like I think the pandemic was like a shift
Mhm.
in energy. I think it was a shift. I think it made a lot of people have to sit their ass down, and I think it took a lot of people out of the trance that you're talking about. Because if you think about it, like I don't think there was ever a time before where people like where the world stopped, quote unquote. Like you know what I'm saying? Where like
I don't know.
people
Not while we've been alive.
exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Where people actually like were staying home, like you know what I'm saying? Like, cause and it's so crazy, like to think that we've lived through a time like this. Like, I know in the next 20, 30 years, when it's spoken about in history books and shit like that, it's gonna be even more profound. But like, even thinking about it now, that we've lived through a time where like people really were like isolated in their house. They really had
Yeah.
to like sit down and reflect, even if you didn't want to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They had to be with the people that they were around. They had to reconnect with their family because when you are in the trance of the work life, it literally makes it's really a trance. Like you really just go to work, come home, go to sleep, go
And
to
what does
work.
outwitting the devil talk about? Exactly.
Yeah.
That drift is serious and it gets you in so many different ways.
Yes. Yes. And then it's just people are literally just zombies drifting. But that shit really shook people up. And for the people that took the time to really just like lean into it, whatever that meant. Because for some people it was very, like a lot of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Because you were faced with a lot of like things that because you were drifting and you were in a trance, you weren't paying attention to. So
Yeah.
really, slap in the face is like, yo, this is what your life really is. I think it was a turning point for a lot of people to be like for example, for you, you got reconnected to your inner passions and you and your art. You know what I'm saying? And you had the time where you didn't feel like you were like
I didn't
kind
feel
of
like I
probably
have to
like
put it aside. I didn't feel like that
exactly.
anymore.
Yeah, you didn't have to make a choice where it's like, oh, it's either I'm getting to the bread or I'm pursuing my art. You know what I'm saying? Where you was getting paid to pursue your art, kind of like you know what I'm saying.
It's
So
just
yeah,
art money is great. Art money is beautiful. I love art money. Oh my God. Art money is my favorite type of money. But right now it's not as consistent as I would love it to be. At least not
Mhm.
enough for me to like live the life that I want yet. So it's like I have to,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. But at least you're still working on your craft.
Yeah.
That's what matters. What matters is that you're not leaving your dreams behind. You
No,
know what I'm
I'm
saying?
learning. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning what
That's,
the casino has able to the casino life has really helped me shift my relationship with money.
okay.
It's broadened my perspective on marketing, on how to
Mm,
market and accepting the art of marketing with sex appeal because all companies use that shit.
love that. We need to talk about that later.
And overall like um the value of shit because you know during the pandemic also what
Yeah.
skyrocketed like our attention to crypto and
Yeah.
NFTs and that
Yeah.
world in general, and it's all about value. You know, it's
Mm,
like how we really, yeah, how we value shit.
yeah.
Money is just a piece of paper, but what's the value in it with what we put in it?
Yeah. Shit. Damn. That's a lot. Like to say I love the fact that you're learning so much as where you are saying, and so I love that so much. And I'm proud of you because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do to look at the things to know the things that you are passionate about and the things that you love, and be able to make a decision to do some other things, right? To allow you to have a certain lifestyle that you'll be able to fund your dreams, right? But to also have the awareness and just I would say the awareness to actually be like, hey, I'm going to learn from where I'm at. Like I'm going to be open hearted, open minded to gain from where I'm at because this is what I'm going to be able to continue to put into the things that I'm passionate and put into the things that I love. You know, I'm proud of you for that, and I'm
Thank you. That's faith. Faith
hearing
goes a
that.
long way. Faith goes
Yeah,
a long fucking way. You want to talk about
yeah,
faith with God? You that faith with God is trusting that your journey is gonna align the way it's supposed to align. It's gonna unfold the way it's supposed to unfold.
yeah,
Whether like with whatever hurt comes with it, like we have to learn from it,
yeah,
grow from it, not be
yeah,
so harsh on ourselves, and that like that's literally it. Like
yeah,
nothing is like permanent. We're always
yeah,
flowing with water, with the wind and shit like that.
yeah,
Like we
for
have to
sure.
remember that our emotions the same. We can't stay in
Yeah,
depression. It's gonna go back up. Like we have to catch
yeah.
that. We gotta ride our waves.
Yes, we gotta ride our wave. I love it. And with that being said, if there was something, because we're coming up to the like our almost hour point. So I appreciate you and I appreciate your time and the time that you're spending with me here. And I wanted to ask you before we go if there was something that a piece of advice that you can give to your younger self or just a young girl out there when it comes to the power of self love. What would one piece of advice that you would give her?
It's okay to be selfish in the sense that you're not being malicious. Like
Mm-hmm.
be real with yourself. You can have that one-on-one talk with you and you can listen to your heart of what you really want to do. Like, are you doing this because you'll make this person happy, whether it's a family member, a loved
Mm-hmm.
one, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really hurting you? Is it really like, is it not aligning with you? Like, you can tap into that and you can get to know that feeling. And if like, if we taught that to the younger, to just the youngins in general at a young age, I feel like
Yeah,
less adults will be dealing with like high anxiety and just shit that like it could have been in a sense like avoided as much in a
yeah,
younger age.
yeah.
If self love goes a long way. Having faith in
Self
yourself
love.
goes a long way.
Yes. And we needed that gem. Thank you so much, Giovanna, for being an incredible co-host on another episode of the G Spot. You dropped so many gems. You gave us so much love,
I
light,
love this
and
topic. Thank you for having
no,
me.
we
It's an
gotta do
honor.
another one of these. We gotta do
Yes,
more of these. We
yeah.
gotta go
I'm
live. We
completely
gotta
down. I'm completely down. Hit me up.
good.
We'll make it
I
happen.
love it. Awesome. So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, connect with you.
You can connect with me on Instagram. It's Giovanna.Wendy _ and it's the same thing on Twitter if you really want to find me there. But I'm mostly like, you can find me on Instagram. There you go. Or WendyGiovanna.com, GiovannaWendy.com, like, all that.
All that. All
Also,
that.
shout out to the 500s. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I love it. Thank you so much, honey
Nah,
bun.
thank you.
Okay. And that's it, guys. Another episode of the G Spot. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Take it to the head. Hey, hey, hey.
When the wine starts to taste like water.